All right. So last week, as I said, we started the series on strategies for um, growing your business in 2025. And as some of you have already seen, 2025 is looking like a very different year. I don't know if you've noticed it, but 2025, as it is with most years, January tends to be very slow. But 2025 January has been like the fastest month ever. Yeah, I don't know if you've noticed it, but 2025 has been okay. So can we mute, please? All right. Uh, when you join, please mute so you don't disrupt the session. I think it has to be a feature. I'll have to get it done. All right. So 2025 has been a very different year. I don't know if it's just me, but then I'm sure most of you have seen that 2025 is going to move very quickly, right? It's going to move very, very quickly. I don't know if it's because of the change of government or it's because of, the country being reset or it's because of Trump coming back. I'm not sure, but 2025 is going to move very fast. And what does that mean? It means that if you also don't move fast equally, you are going to have a lot of challenges with your business, especially if you are to be paying people every month, right? Yeah. Oh my God. I'll have to work on this thing. So if you're supposed to be paying people every month and the month is running so fast, then you realize that, Charlie, as a business person, you need to sit up. Okay. So exploring strategies for business growth. Let me ask a few questions though. What does business growth mean to you? Please put in the chat box. If you say business growth or your business growing, what does it mean to you? What does it mean to you? What does business growth mean to you? Right? What does business growth mean to you? In the shortest possible sentence, tell us in the chat box, what does business growth mean to you? If you say my business is growing, what does it mean? I think that sometimes it's easy for us to answer this question, right? But then if you look at the story of Amazon, the company in the US, and forgive me for using foreign examples, but those ones are the ones that we are easily, preview to because they talk about it all the time, and then the stories are everywhere for us to read. So if you listen to Jeff Bezos, for 9 years after Amazon was set up, they were not making any profits. They were not making any profits. They were not, declaring any profits for 9 years. That means that for 9 years, they were actually making losses. To the extent that in an interview, one of the interviews Jeff Bezos granted, the interviewer was asking him if he knows how to spell profits. Right? And that's how bad it was. Because at the end of the day, business growth, I'm sure, is synonymous with certain things. And today we are going to look at that. We are going to look at how to enhance those things. Okay, so keep the introductions coming. But then since we've started the webinar, I'm going to read some of the comments. So Zachariah says increase in revenue and employees. Increase in revenue and employees. So that is what Zachariah is saying, that's what business growth means to him. If he's increasing his sales and then he's employing a lot more people, that for him is what business growth is. All right. Thank you so much. I can see some of you still introducing yourself. That's good. Keep on going. That's good. So business growth is when the business is able to reach its goals. Okay, so that's a bit generic. Um, if you've ever been in any of our past workshops, I tell people that when you're a business person, what you have to use less and what you need to focus on more is you use less words and then focus more on the numbers. Business is numbers. If you speak too much, you're only making excuses for non-performance. So if you're just joining Ember, this is one of our anthems. Business is numbers. Too many words is an excuse for non-performance. If you have to explain, it means that you didn't hit the targets, right? I don't see anybody who hits the targets and has to explain. You don't explain performance. You only show in numbers. All right. So bear that in mind. And that's why you don't even necessarily need formal education to do well in business. You just need to know what the numbers are like. All right. So, hey, people. So business is numbers. Too many words is only is only an effort to make excuses for what non-performance, right? So write that down. Business is numbers. Now I'm sure people like Iraba Skincare, you have that. In fact, if you can print it somewhere and put it somewhere you see every morning. The moment you're talking too much, you're only making an excuse for non-performance. If you're in business, your numbers should show. And that's why some of you are actually sharing things like number of employees. That's a number, right? If your business is employing 100 people, nobody needs to tell us that, Charlie, this is a business that has potential for growth, right? If your business is making a certain amount of money, nobody has to tell you. If your business is actually spending a certain amount of money, nobody has to tell you. If your business is actually having its assets valued at a certain number, nobody has to tell you. All right. So the truth is, business is numbers, and you cannot disassociate business growth, from numbers. So business growth has to do with numbers. And what are the elements that we are looking at measuring? Okay, so somebody says revenue. So note that. Okay, a lot of you have to, you have to start coming to these webinars with a pen and a notebook, or at least something to take notes with. We beg you. It's not just one of those things you just come and go and nothing happens, please. Business is numbers. Words are only an excuse for non-performance. Don't forget that. So now what are we measuring when we talk about business growth? One, we are measuring revenue. Okay, revenue is the money that you make from the exchange of your products and services for cash. Okay, we move from the era of barter. So that if you want to make money, you need to be able to give product or service, and in exchange, you get money. So whatever you exchange for money, that money can be quantified. Okay, so the quantification of it is what revenue is. So that's the first thing, right? The second is from Zachariah, your number of employees. Okay, number of employees can be quite deceptive because some businesses have very few employees and they are making a lot of money. Some businesses have also very large employees, and yes, they may be making some money as well. So number of employees is also an indicator of business growth, because even moving from the various stages of business, like from a startup to a micro business to a small business to a medium-sized business to a corporate, all those things, the indicators of those movements are what we are talking about. Your revenue, your employees. What else? What does business growth mean to you? What does business growth mean to you? Please put it in the chat box. Let me know. All right. Business growth, the indicators of business growth. One is your revenue. Two is your number of employees. That is according to Zachariah. But then I'll share the third one with you. Please, if you're listening to me and you can hear me, note this. Profit is more important than revenue. Okay, profit is more important than what? Revenue. But you cannot have profit without revenue. You can write this down somewhere. In business, profit is more important than revenue, but you cannot have profit without revenue. All right. Now, Jonathan is talking about your impact. Automatically, you know that Jonathan is a social enterprise or an NGO person. His empathy and love for people would always give him challenges in business. And I'm not kissing him. It's just normal, because people like Jonathan, they would find it hard to actually price. They would find it hard to increase their prices. They would find it hard to chase people for their money. I've actually done a session on how your temperaments affect your business. Maybe one of these days I'm going to do it again. But the answers you give me to a question about what business growth is will tell me what temperament you are in. Okay, and that's okay, right? um, introverts, that is the melancholics and the phlegmatics, they are likely to give me a lot more answers around impact, employees, and things like that. But then the cholerics and then the sanguines are likely to give me things like income, profits, and things. So it's normal. Because people do business for several reasons, right? But essentially, if you're talking about business growth, we are talking about revenue, we are talking about employees, of course, we are talking about profits. Somebody says the size of your customers. I've done a session on volume and value business, right? So sometimes some businesses you can have very few customers but make a lot of money, and in some businesses you need a lot of customers to be able to make a lot of money. So it depends on what type of business you are. So the size of your customers, of course, is an indication, but then more importantly is the amount of money they are bringing you, okay, in comparison to the cost of the products, right? So bear these things in mind. Bear these things in mind. So Angie Praise is saying influence. For somebody who is called Praise, definitely you know that they are very empathetic. So they're going to talk about things like influence and then impacts. It's good. But there are some people making a lot of money that we don't even know about. And this is something that I also tell business people on Ember. The moment you are able to, one, serve a customer who has a need, that your service or your business or your products meets that need, that is number one impact. Okay? Primary impact source is when you're able to meet somebody's need with your products or your service. That is number one. That's what we call primary impact. The moment you're able to serve somebody with your product or your service, I'm emphasizing it because you need to get your mind right. All right? Buying things and then going to give it to the less privileged and all that, they are nice things. That's why they call it social responsibility. They are nice things. If you never do it in your business, it doesn't mean that your business will not grow. But the truth is that the moment you're able to serve a customer with a solution to their problems, with a solution to their needs, that is your first need. Your first impact. Your second primary impact is when you are able to pay somebody's salary. That is your second primary impact. If your business moves beyond you to be able to employ somebody else, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Some people are employing 200, 300. I know a company, a conglomerate that is employing 1 million people. It's called Tata Group in India. They're all over the world, right? Tata employs over 1 million people. I know Jospon employs over 6,000 people. And every employment actually is giving people livelihood beyond even themselves to their families, their dependents, and all that. And that is something that is very commendable. So don't feel too bad. It's good that you like these social causes. But the truth is, primary impact starts with 1, serving somebody's need or problem. 2, paying somebody's salary. That is 3, being able to buy from suppliers, your service providers, the data you are using, the light you are using, the raw material, all those things. The third primary impact, being able to source those things from people because you're also helping them and you are enabling their livelihoods. That is the third one. Do you understand? I can go on and on. The fourth one is being able to pay your taxes. You're also supporting the development of infrastructure and the economy of your country and everything. It's also primary impact. You have to address all those primary impact before you start looking at secondary impact, because most secondary impacts affect your inflows, your income, because you need to take part of your profits to do those secondary impacts. All right. So maybe one of these days we'll also break all those things down, because the moment you decide to do business, you are already impacting lives. Okay, so let's get that straight. When we are talking about business growth, for me personally, I don't really talk about the secondary impacts elements, right? Donation, CSR, it's all important. But then you address the primary before you go to the secondary. All right. So now we are looking at the primary. 1, revenue coming from what? Clients. And this is the reason why they say customers are always right. Customers are always right. Why? Because they are the reason why the business exists. All right. Somebody, Shafatu is saying customer satisfaction. Again, I'm going to do a training on what customer satisfaction is. All right. The primary ones are giving them exactly what they need that meets their expectations. That is the first level of customer satisfaction. All right. And the more satisfied customers are, the more they patronize and the more they tell others about it. But let's look at, I always like to categorize my things into primary, secondary, and then tertiary. So let's look at the primary elements of business growth, or the primary indicators of business growth. The primary indicators of what? Business growth. The first on the list is profit. The first on the list, we are going on a priority list. The first important thing is profit. After you've deducted all your outflows from your inflows, what is left? Because you see, your business grows based on your profits, not just your income. Being able to expand, being able to start another branch, being able to hire another person is based on the profits, not just the income or the revenue. So the first thing, if you're looking at exploring areas of growth in 2025, is to pay attention to what your profit margins are. Some of us have issues with pricing. Some of us have issues with being able to tell exactly what is the cost of our service or the cost of our products. And that's going to really impact your business. All right? If you're doing a service business or you're doing a product business, what is the cost of that product per product? What is the cost of that service you are rendering? What is the cost of my service? And I'll give you a bit of insight in some of the fundamental things you have to look at when you are pricing, especially for service providers like myself. We sell time. Okay, I'm selling my time. That's why for service providers, we charge what we call billable rates. So what is the value of your 1 hour? Everybody on this call has to know that. I have trained on this before in previous webinars. The value of your time, the value of your 1 hour. For service, everybody providing service here, from MS staffing to everybody else that does these intangible things, training, consulting, coaching, accounting, all those service related businesses. You sell your time with your experience, with your knowledge, with your expertise. That's what we do. We sell time with what we know. And that's why the more you do it, the more you're able to do it faster. The more you're able to do it more efficiently, more effectively. Okay? So we sell time. Website designers, graphic designers, you sell time. If you're not able to finish your graphic designing in 1 hour and you take a whole day, you should charge more. But the problem is that if the thing could have taken 10 minutes to do and you took 1 hour, you've lost money. You've lost money. And that's how serious what I'm talking about is. Most of us are not able to figure out what our pricing is. So you made 100 cedis, you are happy because for you, you didn't spend anything. You lie. And here, let me pause and then say another thing that is very familiar to a lot of people in this webinar, Ember webinars. This is my personal quote and my personal belief. Please, you can disagree with me or whatever you choose to do, but you can't Google it because I haven't put it out there. But my personal belief is that every money that every human being is supposed to have in their lifetime is given to them at birth. And we spend the rest of our lives either making that money or spending it. I'll say it again. Every money, and this is, again, my personal belief. That's why it's Ecommisa Business Academy. Everything I say here is my personal belief. You either agree with me, disagree with me, you use it or you don't use it. But this is my personal belief. Every money that you are supposed to make in your lifetime from birth to death is given to you at birth. But for the rest of our lives, we either spend that money or we make that money. How do you spend it? Anytime you spend time and then it doesn't result in you having money, you spend money. But every time you do something and then you get money back, you've made that money allocated to you. And that's why you need to grow your experience so that within the same time you can make more money and catch up. So if somebody is rich, they've only figured out a way of making sure that their time is money. That's why one of the things that rich people don't play with is what? Their time, because that is what they sell. That is what they exchange for money. I always tell you that God is a good God. Why? Because He's giving us one currency, which is divine, to get the other currency, which is man-made. The divine currency is time, and the man-made currency is money. God does not produce money. God did not make money. God will never make money. Why? Because that is the wisdom that God gave mankind to make money. Now, the gift that God has given us is that He's giving all of us 24 hours. And that is money in itself. And that's why when you talk about rich people, everybody knows what the value of their one day is. I can tell you what the value of Bill Gates one day is. Why? Because of the sum total of the money that he's made and he's still making. So you cannot waste a rich man's time. That is why when you have a funeral, when you have a wedding, and your rich friend does not come, but he sends money, you are still happy. So you didn't need his presence, you needed his presence. But then when you're also rich, and then your rich friend does not come and he sends money, you feel it's an insult. Why? Because you needed his presence, which is more valuable than his presence. See, Pastor, I'm not. But these are truths that I have come to discover. Right? If you are equally rich as your friend and you have an event and your friend doesn't come, but he sends money, sometimes you feel insulted. Why? Because you value his presence more than his presence. Right? So every money has already been given. You on this call have decided that you are going to make the money that you've been given through business. But in business, what you make is not the money that you have been given. What you make is the money that you need to turn around so that the profits would be the one that you've been given. The profit is what you can keep. That's why when you're an investor in a business, you keep the dividends from the share of the profits, not the money that the business is making. And that's why if you don't pay yourself as a business person, you're robbing yourself and you're robbing the business of the money you need to survive. I hope I'm not losing most of you. If you can hear me, please pay attention, because you have decided, and this is the account you're going to give to God, that the life that you gave me, this is what I did with it. You decided. That's why when you start doing business, for me, it's like a service, not just to mankind, but to God. You need to do it well. You need to succeed, because that's the evidence that this is what God sent you here to do. And please, if you are not religious, that's fine. My foundation is religion. I mean, so I tend to, but the truth is that this is what you are showing. That's why when your business succeeds, sometimes people don't even remember your name. They use your business name as your name, despite group. All right? Just born. At the end of the day, you have decided that I am going to set up a business and I'm going to use the business to get the money that has been allocated to me when I was born. So if a day ends and your business has not made money, you should be worried. If a week ends and your business has not made money, you should be worried. If a month ends and your business has not made money, you should be worried. If a whole year ends and you have not made enough money, you should be worried. And that's why you don't hold on to your business too much when the business is not doing well. Go and get a job if you have to, because you are losing money. You can make money working for somebody, or you can make money working with somebody. When you do business, you are working for somebody. When you get a job, you are working with somebody. Today, I'm really helping, right? Some of us, we say that, oh, we don't want to work for anybody, so we want to start our own business. That is a fallacy. It's a lie. The foundation of starting a business is working for somebody. The foundation of getting a job or being an employee is working with somebody. Don't get it twisted. Love is a beautiful thing. Dominic, it's because of your love emoji. But think about it. If you don't want to work for anybody, don't start a business. Go and enjoy your investment in Bahamas. That is what I don't want to work for anybody means. But the moment you start a business, that is actually what working for somebody is. Go and ask Margaret. You think that she's starting MS Staffing is because she doesn't want to work for anybody. She's starting MS Staffing is because she wants to work for people who she calls clients, and they can be very annoying. But she keeps quiet and serves them. Why? Because she needs their money. To the point where if she gets to a point where she doesn't need the money, but she wants their money, that's when she decides that I won't serve this client, but I'll serve this client. She fires her client. That is the difference between needing money and wanting money. When you start a business and you are so desperate for money, you need money. So then you suck it up and deal with difficult clients who can afford. But then the moment you get to the point of wanting money and not needing money, because now you've moved from survival to a point where you don't need to be so desperate for money. So now you've moved to that point where you want money. So you decide what kind of customers to work for and what kind of customers to avoid. They are all stages in business. So please, if you start a business, you are working for people. If you get a job as an employee, you are working with people. Don't get it twisted. Nobody will tell you this truth. I'm telling you today. So if your business is not doing well, if your business is not making enough money, if the income is the same as your expenditure, you are not making money, you are not even breaking even, you are making losses, go and get a job. Be humble and go and get a job. Maybe there's something you don't know. Maybe there's a skill you haven't built. Maybe there's a knowledge you don't have. There's an experience you don't have. Humble yourself and go and get a job before it is too late. Do you understand what I'm saying? Please, we are very real on this channel, on this call, on this Ember webinar. We don't sugarcoat things. I tell you as it is. This is your life, and everything you are doing is the sum total of what you did with your life. So you can't afford to just do it anyhow. I beg you. If you're doing it, do it well. If you don't want to do it, stop and go and be the best employee there ever was for somebody else who is doing business. I beg you. The experience you would gain from trying to do business yourself will be very valuable to another person's business. You will understand the pain of an employee that is not loyal. You will understand the pain of an employee that is not productive. When you have done business for yourself, you understand cost, you understand profits, you understand income. So then when you decide that, Charlie, your business is not doing well, so you're going to get a job, you are better placed to serve your boss well than someone who has never done a business before. So maybe God allowed you to start a business so that He can train you on what it takes to be a good employee. You never know. You never know. I'm telling you the gospel truth today. I always went around saying that I haven't worked for anybody before. I haven't worked for anybody before. I don't want to work for anybody and all that. But the truth is that, listen, as you are growing, all your mates who decided that they are going to work for somebody, they are now gaining, they are growing in their careers. They are becoming bosses. They are earning money. They are growing their investments. And your business is not doing well. After 1 year, after 2 years, after 3 years, after 4 years, why are you still doing it? Because at the end of the day, the difference will be so much. And now you are at an age where you can't get into any business because you are still entry level. You don't have any corporate experience. So if you realize that, Charlie, you don't have what it takes, or things are not going well, or the economy has changed, so your product is not performing, my brother, my sister, nothing. See, what people will say, you will never hear. What will people say? You will never hear. And even if you hear, it won't do anything to you. Just go and get a job. If you have to. But let me go back to what I was saying. If you decide that you're going to do this thing called business, which is your way of exchanging God's time into man's money, make sure you are paying attention to profits, the difference between your expenses and what is left. All right? So the difference between what your investment and your expenses and then what is left, profit. Profit is what we use to grow businesses, not income. Okay? You invest your profits, you reinvest your profits. You reinvest your profits, you invest your profits, and you keep investing your profits to grow your business. All right? Second, revenue. That's why I brought profit first. So revenue is the second. That is the money you make directly from what? Clients. Clients are the most important people in business, not even employees. Right? Someone said profit is selling price minus cost price. That is what we learn, right, in school. But then what makes a selling price has both tangible and intangible elements. So I'm sure we'll study that with time on this call. But the thing that as a business person you need to be aware of, please mute when you join. I'll take questions very soon. If you have any questions, you can also put in the chat box. I'll respond as I go along. All right. So the most important person in business first is yourself. And I'm talking about the order of importance of people that are in your business. One, yourself. Why? Because John Maxwell says that everything rises and falls on leadership. Your business is a reflection of who you are. If your business is doing well, you're doing well. If your business is not doing well, you are the reason. Don't blame anyone. Some of us are quick to blame everything else but ourselves. Because if everything indicated that the business was not going to do well, why did you still go ahead and invest? Why did you still go ahead and open the doors of your business? Why didn't you shut it down and then sell your assets and then start something else? You are the reason why your business is doing well or not. It's hard, right? Your business is a reflection of who you are. I've done a training on this webinar about that. Your temperament determines how you perform and behave in your business. Some of you work when you feel like. When you don't feel like, you don't work. My brother, my sister, it's going to affect you. And it's not because of anything. It's just the way you are. That's how you've lived. And now it's reflecting in your business. If you're a clean person, your business is clean. If you're a structured person, your business is structured. Unless you've gotten to the point where you realize that you need help. So then you employ the people we call professionals. If you want your business to have a professional look, one, you have to be a professional yourself. And you become a professional by actually being in a professional environment. And that's why when people who start businesses have worked before, there's a difference. You see, there's a difference because they've been in a professional environment, so now they know how it is done. But if for whatever reason, like myself, you've never been in a professional environment, that's why your business has to employ the people we call professionals to come and infuse professionalism in your business. We'll learn all those things every Thursday. Don't miss it, I beg. It's free. I'm giving all this knowledge for free. All right. Order of importance. Number one, yourself. When you are doing well, your business will do well. When you are growing, your business will grow. When you are not growing, your business will not grow. When your energy is down, your business's energy is down. When your network is full of people who cannot help you, When you need help, they can't give you money. They can't give you advice. They don't even encourage you. They don't even challenge you. Your business will remain unchallenged. You are the most important person in your business. I hear a lot of people saying that hire people that are more learned, more smart, and all those things than you. But if you are not able to work with those kind of people, your business will suffer. There are people that have worked in companies and they know that they've either outgrown the company or they are going to outgrow the company. So eventually they leave into another company that the company is growing more than they are. If your business outgrows you, people in your business and people around your business will start copying and beating you in the market. And that's why you see that your business is not growing. But some people who are even in your business or some of your competitors are now copying the things that, because you may be good at innovating, but you're not good at selling. So the moment you innovate and you put it out, somebody looks at it who is good at selling, copies the same thing and sells it well. And you see someone and say, I started this, but you didn't make the money. The joy of doing a business is not starting innovation. The joy of business is to sell. If you want to do innovation and solve problems, you are not a business person, you are an entrepreneur. I've done the various levels of this thing we call business. And some of you joined that class. I told you that the first one is hobby. Some of you are not doing business. You are just having fun. That's why when your customers pay you or they don't pay you, you are still happy. Because you're having fun, you're enjoying yourself. It's called hobby, my sister. It's not business. Just that once or twice, some people just buy and you're happy. No. Some of you too, you go ahead saying that you're an entrepreneur, you're an entrepreneur, you're an entrepreneur. What is an entrepreneur? Somebody who finds solutions to problems. It doesn't necessarily mean that you are making money. That's why entrepreneurs do what we call MVPs, prototypes, and things like that. So sometimes you could have innovative ideas. You can actually have innovative products, innovative services and all that, but it's not moving. And you call yourself an entrepreneur, but an entrepreneur is not a businessman or a businesswoman. Some of you too have moved from entrepreneurship, finding solutions to problems. Please, this is how you see that you're an entrepreneur. Everywhere you pass, you don't see problems, you see solutions, you see innovation. You have more than 5 ideas. And a lot of you say that you want to have what we call conglomerate or group of companies. My brothers and sisters, that is an indication of you are an entrepreneur. And if you are hearing the sound of my voice, and you are one of those people where you have a lot of ideas, you want to start a lot of businesses, you are calling yourself a serial entrepreneur, please, if you don't take care, a serial killer will come and then affect all your businesses. What am I saying? That is not a business person. And some of you have also moved from entrepreneurship to self-employed. You are selling small, okay, selling small. But the moment you have demand, then you are confused. You're not able to. So some of you today you sell, tomorrow you don't sell, because you can't take up demand, pressure. You don't like pressure. You are self-employed. You want to do things at your own pace. You know, you don't be rushed. You don't pressure me. Those people, they are self-employed. They want to go at their own pace. So even though there's demand knocking at their door, they don't know what to do, and they just get confused. So those people are the self-employed. So are you seeing the levels? We have the hobby, we have the entrepreneur, we have the self-employed, and I'm just diverting a bit. And then we have the businessmen and the businesswomen. Please, the businessmen and the businesswomen, they focus on what we call products. That's why in Ghana, we have a lot of businessmen and businesswomen, but we have a few entrepreneurs. So you, the entrepreneurs and the self-employed people, you start something, it's nice, people are buying it, there's demand. Now the business people see that, oh, this thing works. Then they start putting money there and then selling it and then being big. So something that you started small, like photography, you are doing it at your own pace. Today you are working, tomorrow you are not working. Somebody picks up the same thing and then before you realize it's a big company. Some of you started cosmetics. You are doing it small, 1 product, 2 products, 3 products, not knowing that your competitors were buying it and then re-engineering it, and then now at the end of the day, somebody that was buying from you is now doing better than you. That person is a business person or a business woman or a businessman. When you use this phrase, I am in business, the only thing you are saying is that I'm making money. So don't tell me you are in business when you're not making money. You may be doing a hobby. You may be doing entrepreneurship. is nice, pitch deck. You are pitching. Some of you too, you tell yourself pitchpreneurs, moving from one program to another, pitching and getting money, pitching and not getting money, small. You are doing pitching. You're not serious. You're not a business person. You're not. And I mean, those of you who know me at KIC, I'm quite blunt, right? Even though I'm a very nice person. But please, these are the stages. The moment you get to business, look at Jospon. Jospon does not call himself an entrepreneur. I have never seen him calling himself a serial entrepreneur. Despite will not go around calling himself entrepreneur. Can you imagine Despite doing a pitch deck? Where? He won't waste his time doing pitch decks and all those things. Why? Because the moment you get to business, it's about products and sales. Products and sales. Products and sales. Those who work in bank, those who work in insurance, those are don't joke. If you want to be a good business person, go and work in insurance sales. Go and work as a banking salesperson. You will see when they give you a target and then they are putting pressure on you. Some of you just go and cry and you want to do your own business. You'll be a self-employed. You're doing it small. Even without any effort, you are making this kind of money. Can you imagine when you actually start being a business person, how much money you make? And who is a business person? The moment you see that there's a demand on a particular product, you focus 100% on that product and sell millions of it. That is business. A business is one that has identified a product that has demand and is putting in the measures to sell millions of it in the shortest possible time. Assimilate it and see for yourself. Are you a business person? Are you a self-employed? Are you an entrepreneur? Or are you doing hobby? You're a hobbypreneur. Or maybe I'll just add, are you a pitchpreneur? In between a self-employed and entrepreneur is pitchpreneurs. But the truth is, my brothers and sisters, I beg you, this is your life. It's not okay that your business is so small. You could have made more money getting salaries. How do you do a business and at the end of the month you've made 1,000, 2,000? That's a salary. It's a salary. If your revenue in business is equal to a salary, go and get a job. Because at the end of the day, see, the problems with business will be solved when you have a job that pays you the same amount as the sales you make in your business. It's the truth. And you don't have to worry about employees. You don't worry about data. You don't worry about lights. You don't worry about call credits. You don't worry about office. You don't worry about anything. You just go and do what they say you should do. At the end, they pay you and you're okay. Why are you stressing yourself? What are you trying to prove? Nobody cares. The only time we will care about you is when you have money enough that we admire and we wish we had it. That's what we call you role models. The people you are calling role models is because you wish that Sally, you were as rich as them. That is when we care. If you can't get to the point where we covet your success, we don't care. We don't care. If you don't get to the point where people are saying that, Charlie, you are doing cocaine, we don't care. If you don't get to the point where people are saying, Charlie, this guy, why? What is he doing? You become the problem of people. That is when we care. But this thing you are doing, today you get up, you go and come, you get up, you go and come. You think we care, and you are thinking, what will people think if you stop? They won't think anything. Just stop and go and work for somebody. With time, gather enough and come back and correct your mistakes. It's your life, my brother. It's your life, my sister. Forget what people think. Forget them. Some of you are taking Uber. Everywhere you go, Uber. You are a business person, you are taking Uber. How much are you making? You are delivering something of 200 cities. You are taking Uber, 150. Are you okay? If you sit in Trotro, just because you are loud on social media, so you can't sit in Trotro, nobody cares. They won't even recognize you. They won't recognize. If they recognize you, nobody cares. If they talk about you, then you are doing something that they wish they could do. That's it. People who gossip, they are only talking about people who they wish they could be like. It's normal. Ember business. So the after business is investors, people who put in money, people who put in their expertise, people who put in their knowledge, people who put in their connection and get money. Those are the investors. That's where I pray all of us will get to, where we don't sweat, where we don't ever get up and say we are going to work. We just look at our bank balances, our investments, and just look at businesses that we can invest in. The moment you start a business, you are, number one, an investor. Number two, an employee for your business. You see, you said you don't want to what? Work for somebody. But the moment you start a business, you are the first employee. But this time around, you are working for clients. You see, nobody told you this. That's why you are struggling. Be humble. If you have to go and work for somebody, go. But if you have to learn how to do this thing, the first thing I'll recommend is never miss our Ember webinars on Thursday. Especially those of you who don't want to give me money. You don't want to join the Ember 100. You don't want to join my retainer programs. You just want to enjoy this one. Just make sure you don't miss the 7 p.m. Ember webinars, because we are going to tell you the truth. My sister, you are not growing any younger. This thing is not working. Even the people you decided that you're going to help, you started an NGO, the people you are helping, when another NGO starts, they will still go to that NGO. It's not about you. It's because you decided to start. So they came as your beneficiaries. The moment you run out of money, they'll go to the next NGO. So what is it? And you are the ones suffering. You don't even have something to eat. But now you are the provider to the beneficiary. So you can't be a beneficiary yourself. What problem have you caused for yourself? It's only in Ghana that I see people who don't have enough to survive on, who want to do NGO. I've never had that problem of not having something to eat, because by God's grace, I come from a family that if I'm broke, I can go to my sisters. I can, even my in-laws, like Margaret, I can even go to them for money, fortunately, right? But the truth is that you get to the point where you see that everybody around you is doing well. You go to a family gathering, everybody is doing well. And you're the only one who says that you have hearts bigger than everybody. So you're doing impact. I'm teaching my life testimony. You get to a program where your siblings are gathered, everybody seems to be doing well. The indicators of they doing well, they come with a car, they are nicely dressed, they have an Apple Watch, they are holding an iPhone, they are smelling good. And then you, who is doing impact, your shoe is half. Please, I'm not trying to dampen anybody's spirits, but this is your life. And you can be more impactful when you've gotten to the point where your basic needs are well taken care of. I beg you, don't go and read all this Bible and then you think that Jesus had nothing. And what Jesus had was provision, divine provision. Some of you don't understand the difference in the times and the now. We all have, right? But even with the lepers, can you imagine? Lepers would have died if they didn't make a move. This is not church. Before somebody have called me pastor already, but these are the truth. Business is your life. Can you imagine? Look at ICGC, and I can use ICGC because I'm there, right? Even church. Do you know that when a church is not growing, you suspect that church? Like imagine a church has been in existence for 10 years, 20 years. It's the same auditorium, the same furniture. No, something is wrong somewhere. And I don't know what church you guys attend. I don't know what church you guys attend, but just check that. Just check it. You will see that there's always progress. They are moving. Maybe they changed the chairs. Right now, they used to use projector. Right now, they're using screens. They've built a new... Your life should show that you are making progress, my brother. There's no nobility in scarcity. And there's no nobility in poverty. You're not noble because you are poor. It's a stupidity. So business is what you do to be able to exchange your time for money through product or service. Business is the activity you've decided to do to be able to exchange your divine currency, which is time, through the delivery of product or services in exchange for mankind currency, which is money. Okay? So these are the levels. So put yourself where you, in fact, put in the chat box where you are. Are you still doing hobby? Are you self-employed? And please, this is not to make anybody feel, we are learning, I beg you. And I'm not here to lie to you, because your success is my legacy. If you hear something from today's webinar that can change your life, that is what I came to this world for. Okay? So please tell me in the chat box where you are, and then we can start the conversation from there. Are you doing a hobby? You're just excited doing something. Are you self-employed? There is demand, but you can't meet the demand, so you just do enough just to be happy. Are you an entrepreneur? Okay, so entrepreneur comes before self-employed. So are you doing a hobby? Are you self-employed? Are you an entrepreneur? Are you in business? Or are you an investor? So which one? Are you one, hobby, entrepreneur, self-employed, business, investor? Investor in this sense is that you don't really do the day-to-day run of the business. You only invest, put in money, put in networks, put in knowledge or connection or something. All right. So let me know. Jumbo says, I'm self-employed. It means that she's making or made some money. She sees that people want what she has, but somehow she can't figure out how to grow it or how to serve a lot more people. It's like those that sell cocoa and wachi. If you don't see that they are changing them for 10 years, it's the same table. They are self-employed. They are okay with how much they make. Meanwhile, somebody is selling the same wachi, but then it's Reggie's wachi. Look at how they've changed the whole, how wachi is sold. That is a business person. Somebody is selling fufu. There is demand, but it's not able to serve a lot of people. So Despite comes and says, I'm going to do neat fufu. That is business. He has decentralized and been able to make it simple for everybody who loves fufu to enjoy fufu, neat fufu. All right? So now that everybody is knowing where they are, this is what you will do for me. Or every time you join the Thursday program, you should look at, okay, how do you move to the next stage? Because when your life is getting to retirement, you should get to the point of being an investor. If you look at all the stories of these big business people, Jeff Bezos just handed over to Alex, the next CEO of Amazon, right? Now he's only an investor. He spends most of his time at Blue Origin, just inventing. Okay, Blue Origin has not made any money, but then the truth is that he can afford to run the business. So for him, it's an investment for the future. So please, at the end of the day, you are supposed to live a life that makes it like you're supposed to get to a point in your life where you are actually very lazy and comfortable with it. Life is about getting to the point of being lazy and not doing too much work. You have to live out of hard work. I've said this on webinar before, Ember webinar before. The more manual your labor is, the more physical your work is, the less money you are likely to make. I'm using likely just to be a nice person. But the truth is, anybody that actually does a lot of physical work makes less money. Money is mental, not physical. And that's why when you look at a construction site, a lot of people that are actually sweating the most are the ones that make the less money. In your business, you don't have to stress too much. If the knife is sharp, you don't exert too much force. So if you are struggling in your business, please don't blame everybody and leave yourself. Your knife is not sharp. You don't know what business is. So you are struggling and doing a lot of physical force and making less money. You're supposed to build your life to the point where the more you grow, the less force you put in whatever you're doing. You can't get up every morning 6 a.m. and go to work at 55, at 65, you're still doing that, and you think there's nobility in that. No. If you do that, it's because you've chosen to, not because you need to. When you are growing and you need to exert a lot of physical force, you're not doing too well in life, my brother. You're not doing too well in life. That's why when you see an old woman or an old man struggling with young people to take trotro, even when they are not struggling and they are just taking trotro, you feel sad. And you ask yourself, mostly you don't go and ask them, except if you are bold enough. Because you see, at a certain age in your life, hard work, if ever you get yourself involved in it, is supposed to be for pleasure, not for gain. Are you hearing what I'm saying? At certain age or stage in your life, if you ever have to do hard work, it should be for pleasure, not for gain. At a certain stage, if you have to take trotro, it's because it's a long time you took trotro, so you just want to experience it, not because you need to. I don't want to use the word failed, because really, success is relative. So what is success to one is not success to the other. What is failure to one is not. So I don't want to use the word failed. But you and I know that with every stage in life, there are certain things that you can't see yourself doing. You shouldn't be doing it. Why are you working so hard? Maybe one day I'll do a whole session on it. Between 21 all the way to 35, work hard. Work like your head no day. Every work you find, get it done. If you need money, work hard whilst you are learning. Okay? I always say that there is a stage of dependency, there's a stage of interdependency, and then there's a stage where you are independent. And then there's another stage where other people depend on you. There are stages in life. The dependency stage is when somebody takes care of you. The interdependent stage is when, there's an exchange. You do it for somebody, somebody does it for you. The independent stage, you take care of yourself. And then the dependent stage is when other people depend on you. When you give birth as a teenager, you are both dependent on someone and someone is dependent on you. That's not how life is supposed to be. That's why teenage pregnancy is a problem, even though the child is a gift from God. Okay, let's take a quick break. I think the tension is too much. All right. I beg you, this is your life. This is another year. It can't be like last year. Let me tell you a story. And my relative is here, so I can't lie to you. There was no day, no year, no month that my family were not worried about me. Why? Not because I was being a bother and I was going to ask for money from them and all that. But the truth is, they don't know anything about me. Like, they don't know what's happening to a Comensa. Everybody's life was quite predictable. My younger sister will come with a 4x4. My other sister will come with a 4x4. My younger brother will come with some steves. My younger brother dresses. Margaret is here. She'll tell you, copied dresses, right? And then the call will come and he's looking all humble. And I said, no, I was broke. But I was doing impact. Those who know me, I was doing, and even Margaret, Margaret is a nice person. So she'll call me and then I go, so what are you doing? She just, you people worried me. Because people from a place of care would always want to know what's happening. But if your life is doing well, you don't need to explain. It shows, my brother. It shows. Even your perfume. I'm telling you. It shows. You don't have to explain. See, you don't. Your shoe. It would give up on you, my brother. Oh, we have lived. I'm telling you. Share. It wasn't easy. Why? Because everybody was working and we're doing well. All my siblings, and this is direct family, not even talk about my external family, my father's side, my in-laws side, Charlie, everybody was doing well. Their career was doing well. They've done their masters, they have their cars, and I, the one that never had an employment, I was struggling in silence. And because of that, I didn't want to worry anybody. See, I didn't want to prove anybody right or wrong. So I won't bother you. I won't come and ask you for anything. So then it's like you are there, but you are not there. It wasn't easy like that. So you have to be able to get to a point where you stop lying to yourself. See, when you start making money, you know that there's a difference. Right now, you are accepting things. But the moment you start making money, you know that even impacting lives, there's a different way of doing it. I'm telling you, my brothers and sisters. So let's not be all mushy, be all emotional. But this is your business. I beg you, don't play with it. Don't keep experimenting. Don't keep trying new things. There's no nobility in that. You want to be a serial entrepreneur, but you don't have one business that you can leave alone without getting involved in it, and it will survive. What kind of serial entrepreneurship is that? What is your cash cow? What business have you been able to build that you need to build multiple businesses? Who are you trying to please? When you're rich, you don't please anybody. I beg you, you're not rich yet. You're not rich yet. I don't know who I'm talking to on this call. Maybe aside my in-law, Margaret. But the truth is, are you rich yet? Are you? If you stop working today, can you survive for the rest of your life comfortably? If you're not, then take these things we are sharing on this call very seriously. Business growth should not just be a wish. It shouldn't just be a goal. It shouldn't just be a stage. It should be your obsession. You should be obsessed with making money with your business. Do you understand what I'm saying? Be obsessed. Like it should be, there's nobody around you that should not know that you are a serious business person. Nobody. Your parents, your in-laws, your relatives, everybody should know that Charlie Eko doesn't play with his business. One of the challenges that I faced growing up and trying to do this entrepreneurship thing is that at most points in my life, my relatives, that is the close and the far, they didn't know exactly what I'm doing. They just know that I'm doing something. I'm at this program, I'm getting this award, but they can't even explain. My mother can't explain to people what I do for business. They know I'm doing something, but they can't. And if your close relatives can't tell what you're doing, then how do they even tell others to patronize you? Please, I beg you, you're not doing business for yourself. You're doing business for your customers. You're doing business for your investors. That's why when Bill Gates retired, he left chairman and CEO of Microsoft and gave it to another person. And now he's just an investor. When you start a business, you are both an investor and an employee. At any point in time, you can resign from being an employee, or you can sell your shares and have nothing to do with your business. Don't get it twisted. The only difference is that you report not to yourself. Do you know that if you're really doing business seriously, where you have structures and systems in place, every CEO must report to a board? So why are you lying to yourself? And why are you allowing people to lie to you that you want to work for yourself, so you start a business? No, it's only because you are doing hobbies, so you report to yourself, you do whatever you like. You are self-employed, so you get up whenever you like. You are an entrepreneur, so whatever you see, you have a solution. You start a business. You are a friend and pitchpreneur, so whatever program you go. But the moment you get to the stage of business, you report to a board. You have people that you are accountable to. And if you are not at that stage yet, my brother, don't think you are in business. If you don't report to a board, you report to what? Shareholders. If you don't report to shareholders, you report to employees. At every stage of your business life, you are reporting to somebody. You are accountable to somebody. So you might start a business, but you are actually working for somebody. Employees, customers, investors. Maybe you've never heard it this way before. But this is the truth. And this is Business Academy, not Entrepreneurship Academy. This is Business Academy, not Self-Employed Academy. This is Business Academy, not Hobby Academy. I beg you, I've come through many stages in my life and I arrived at this point where these foundational truths, I never heard it anywhere. Never. Not at programs, not at seminars. Nobody told me anything. But I'm telling you today, if you're hearing what I'm saying and you say you are in business, be obsessed with growth. And what are we talking about? Profits, income, investments, employees, assets. Put these 5 things down. Put these 5 things down. Profit, 1, be obsessed with profits. Be obsessed. Like everything you sell, know the profit margin. Every service you give, because profit is what you can keep for the business, not for yourself. I beg you. Yes. Another truth. Your business income is not your income. That is why I'm telling you that if you start a business, you are an investor and an employee. What does an employee get? A salary. And that's why you've been in workshops that they say, pay yourself. Why? Because the title you hold in your business is a title that you could have given to somebody else and you would have paid that person. So the question I'm asking you is that if you gave it to somebody else, how much would you have paid that person? And the question is, why are you not paying yourself that? If your business is not at the point to pay yourself that, what that means is that your business owes you that money. Are you saying that you're not good enough to be paid that amount of money? So if you are not good enough to be paid that amount of money, why is it that when you employ somebody to be the MD of your business, you would pay him that amount of money? But you are the MD. The only difference is that you can't afford it. Your business cannot afford it. But what that means is that now you are working for the business and the business owes you money. Write it down as IOU. When the business makes it, take that money out of the business with no shame. I'm sorry. That's why I do it weekly and not daily. Because if I do it daily, some of you wouldn't join again. You'll be upset. You are an employee, MD, CEO. What are the names you give yourself? Executive Director, Director 1. All those things are positions for employees. Margaret will tell you. If you ask Margaret to hire you an MD, what will be the job description? What will be the salary? What will be the benefits? That is what you need to get from today. Founder is not an employee title. Founder is an indication of an investor title. I'll come there. If you're a founder, you are not an employee. That's why every time you see founder, CEO, they've shown you that both investor and employee in the same person. I'll explain all this to the best of my knowledge, please. Okay, to the best of my knowledge. And the way I understand things might not be what actually is out there. So you can always go and then come back and then let me know what I've gone wrong with and what I've gone right with. But this is one of the things you should do. Sit down and write your job description for your position, the position you are holding. Write the job description. Now, because of ChatGPT, you don't have a problem. Just go and write what your business does and tell me, please write me, don't even add please, ChatGPT is not Ghanaian. So write me job description for the MD of this company, and the company does this and this and this. Suggest salary range and then benefits. Put it there and see. And that is where you start from. Because the truth is, if you are not doing it and you employ someone to do it, you pay that person every month without fail. So if your business cannot pay you every month without fail, what does that mean? It means that your business owes you every month. So the moment you hit it big, all the arrears you calculate and you take it out of your business. Are we on the same page? Are we on the same page? Today we are learning. What are the 5 elements of business growth? I said the first one is what? What's the first one? Profit. When they say that customer care, you people have made it like, the truth is consultants have to do it in a way that people will see that, Charlie, we've put in a lot of work. So then we come up with all these jargons and everything. But the truth is that nobody will tell you to be nice to a customer that gives you the most money. Nobody. You don't learn it. You don't learn niceness. You don't learn customer care. You don't learn it. If you know that this customer gives me my most money, automatically you'll be nice. It's because, like I said, some of you pass the stage of need. You are only at the stage of wants. So you don't need money. You just want money. So then if you have it, fine. If you don't have it, fine. Okay. All right. Oh, Erajo Jumbo, my note taker. Thank you so much. So let's go through. So these are the 5 things we are going to learn in our subsequent trainings: profit, revenue, employees, investments, and what? Assets. I beg you, there's no pride in employing people and not being able to pay them. When I was growing, when I started this whole business, right? One of the things I enjoyed most, apart from having an office with air conditioning, can you imagine? One of my biggest dreams was to have an air conditioned office. Oh, Jesus. The day that I bought my first air conditioner, oh, Jesus, I was so happy. It was some shop be like that at America Junction. Some shop. It got air conditioning, one air conditioner, we partitioned it. So my office and the rest of the people. Oh my God. See, this is it. If you don't grow so much that your past is funny, you haven't evolved. Air conditioner, that was one of my biggest dreams, right? So yeah. I don't know what your biggest dream is. Some of you have big dreams. When I hear some of the dreams, I'm like, hey, Charlie, hey, what is your air conditioning? At that time, I bought my first air conditioner for 785 cities. 1.5 horsepower. I don't remember the brand. Don't ask me the brand. But I remember the amount because you can imagine it was my right now I have offices with air conditioning. I don't even go there. Oh my God. Be obsessed with profits. Be so obsessed with profits because that is what the business keeps. What you keep is salary. As an employee, you keep salary. You don't keep your business income. You don't keep your business profits. 2, what you keep as an investor is dividends from your share of the profits after tax. I hope you are hearing me. There are 2 things that you take from your business. One is salary and whatever perks or benefits there is. And then 2 is dividends from the profits of your share in the business. So then if you own 50%, at the end of the year, when you've declared profits after tax, and you decide that you want to share the whole profit, 50% now is what comes to you. You and your co-founders or your other investors can decide that, listen, we are not declaring profits, so we are reinvesting all our profits into expanding our asset base, our asset base. So you buy machines, you get a new office, it's from the profits. But if you decide that, okay, you have everything you need to run the business, so let's share 50% of the profit, you share it as 100% according to your shares. So those are the 2. One is at the end of the year and one is every month. If you're an MD, write your job description and put a salary there. If your business cannot pay you that salary, your business owes you every month. And until your business pays you, they don't pay dividends to any investor. That's why they say equity investment is very risky, especially when the business is not doing well. Because you pay everything, including the government, before you pay investors. And that is the beauty of getting equity money. Why? Because they are the last to be paid. It's 8:27, and unfortunately, we close at 8:30. So what do I have to give you? If you're here and you really need help with your business, you've heard some of the things I'm saying. Some of you never invest in HR, you never invest in business coaching, you never invest in consulting, you never invest in getting the help that you need. But you invest in office, you invest in air conditioning, you invest in car, everything. At the end of the day, when your business is struggling, you call your pastors, you call your friends, you call people who have never done business before, but you will never pay a commensal 1,000 cedis, 2,000 cedis, 5,000 just for him to help you. It's okay. It's fine. Continue. Invest in the help you need so you don't waste your time. Time is your most valuable asset. And if you are here and you go back to 2024 and you can genuinely tell yourself that you didn't do well financially, then don't make the mistakes that you did in 2024, in 2025. Get the help you need. I'm telling you, my brothers and sisters, see, it's not just about New Year's resolution. Your pastor has a plan. Your pastor has a mentor. Your pastor has a coach. Your pastor has a prayer team. Your pastor is being challenged by other pastors. But you don't have any of that. What are you talking about? Please, if you need any help, ask for it. The Bible says, ask and you shall be given. But don't ask from people who have no experience whatsoever. Doing business is not book. You can read all the nice things in books. When the rubber hits the road, it's a whole different ball game. And especially in our environment, Ghana, it is not what you read in the books. They don't tell you the truth. They don't. They don't. So please, please and please again, I beg you, get the help you need. Next week, we'll continue the series on strategies for business growth. This has been part 2. If you missed it, I think there's a recording we are going to share, right? But if you need the help, get it. I mean, the least help you can get is joining the Ember 100. Just go to ember.ecomensa.com/ember100. The packages are very cheap, 100 cedis a month or 250 if you want one-on-one. Very cheap. I don't even charge that for my clients, but you see, I love you. I want to work with only 100 businesses, helping them through the process of thinking through their business. Because these webinars, I talk. You ask questions, I answer, and then we go. But if you want intimate help, the least is sign up on Ember 100. But those that can afford it, just talk to me, and then let's do a package for you. Okay? All right. Thank you so much, Eunice. You need last 2 weeks recording. Okay, so the coordinator for Ember is Esther. So Esther would be working with all of you. Currently, we have about 250 on the Ember platform, like the Ember database. So we are working with all of you, and we are hoping that at least we can get the 100 to sign up on the 100 Ember 100. All right. So Eunice says, please, I need to. Esther, please attend to Eunice comment. Georgina says, thank you so much. I learn a lot every Thursday. Oh, thank you. But do you invite other people to also come and learn a lot? Don't keep knowledge to yourself. Unless you think that I'm talking rubbish, which is fine. If you think I'm talking rubbish, that's fine. But if you're learning a lot, don't keep it to yourself. This is free. It can be a gift for somebody. I know we don't pray and fast here, but you do it somewhere else. Complement it with this one. So please invite your friends. to join. I'm sure all of you have business friends, right? Invite them to join. It's Thursday, 7 p.m. to 8:30. Let us learn. I'm teaching you almost 20 years of things I've learned trying to do my own business. 2 decades. And I don't call them mistakes because now I talk with authority because of the experience I've built, right? So please, the link, I've shared the link with you, ember.ecomensa.com/ember100. But Esther will send it to all of you. Please try and join. It's just 100 CDs. Trust me, the whole 100 people is 10,000 pay. I get 10,000 from one client every month. So I'm not out for your money because this Ember is not my business. Do you understand? This is my corporate social responsibility. You are my beneficiaries. Oh, I love you guys. Thank you so much for coming. It's been wonderful seeing all of you. I hope to see you next week. We'll continue with part 3, but this week we've learned so much, right? We've learned the various stages of what business is: hobby, entrepreneur, self-employed, business, and then investor. We've also learned the things that determine what business growth is, starting from profits all the way to what? Assets. So we're going to break it down and then we'll continue discussing it from next year. Next week, God willing, if God gives us life, I'll be here training, teaching, encouraging, and supporting. Today, I haven't really encouraged. Forgive me. Today, I came to tell you the truth. But next month, which is the love month, I will encourage. Okay, I will encourage. Some of you need to break up with some of the partners you have. If you haven't married them yet, and they're just your girlfriends and your boyfriends, and they don't support your business, break up with them. Please, break up with them. They are wasting your time. You don't need people like that. All right. Thank you so much. Please go to Ember100. You can even Google it, Ember100. It will come up. All right. Thank you so much. Have a good night. I'll see you next week on the call. I'll see you next week on the call, 7 p.m. All right. Don't be reminded. Set an alarm and join 7 p.m. next week. We'll continue with strategies for business growth in 2025. God bless you. Thank you. See you next week. Bye. Bye-bye. Bye. Don't worry, we'll send the recording to all of you. Don't worry. Bye-bye. 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 Bye-bye.